You can start. Bro.
Okay. Okay. Welcome back to Automation Squad. Today we'll start with the fifth part of document understanding playlist, which is going to be about extraction and validation. So previously we discussed about data extraction in digitize step. So that is completely different. In digitize step, we completely digitize the entire document, irrespective of a handwritten or it can be any PDF. It will completely digitize, but in extraction, we extract the required fields, only the required fields. Let's get started. So previously we discussed all the introduction steps and taxonomy, digitize, all we had all these videos. So you can go through the playlist. And in today's session, we'll be discussing about extract and then validate and then the post-processing steps. So these will be the agenda for document extraction and validation. So firstly, what is data extraction scope? So this scope provides extracted activities. It enables you to configure them according to the document types, which are being defined in taxonomy, which is one of the initial step. The output of this activity will be stored in extraction result variable. So that contains all the extracted data, and it can be used for exporting, which is a final step, pre-processing. It can be exported into our required format. This activity also features a configure extractors. So we can configure the extractor type. If you see here, we have three to more extractor types. So this is a parallel activity. If you see, we can have more number of extractors in single activity, single scope. So it is part of intelligent OCR package, and extractors are also part of intelligent OCR package. So to quickly discuss about the properties, it takes classification results. The classification results is nothing but the output from classify step. If this field, the classification results step will be optional if you specify document type ID. And then it takes document object model, DOM, and it is nothing but it contains the extra information about the PDF, like uh, the rotated, the number of pages available for that PDF, and all other settings of the PDF. So the external information will be available in the DOM. And then finally the document path, which will be a variable which we pass to through all the steps of the document understanding framework. And document text, so the text of the document itself, which will be stored in string variable. So as I said, we do data extraction in digitize, so that contains all the information of the PDF that will be stored in a variable. So that variable will be passed to data extraction scope, and then here we eliminate all the unwanted data, and then we scrape only the required information, required field information. So that's document text. And then document ID, as I already told, document ID can be an optional variable, optional property. If you keep classification results, if you give classification results, then document type ID can be ignored. So these are the main, and one of the main is taxonomy. Taxonomy, which we already discussed in previous videos. It will be initial step. It will be the main document type where we create a schema of the document. So that variable will also be passed to the property of data extraction scope, and it gives the output as extraction results, and that will be variable type of extraction result. Here one thing to be taken care, if the page range of data extraction indicates that indicates that only a part of original file is targeted, that the data extraction scope generates a file in the temp project folder, then that will be passed to the extractors. The temporary file contains only the page range that extractors should receive for document processing. So the input consists of outputs of previous document understanding steps along with the document path. Based on the structure of the document, different extractors will be used in the parallel activity here. So if we have to configure the extractors, we have the configure extractor option. So if we click on that, we'll get the configuration part, and then we can configure each field which we require. And since it is a parallel activity, you can have multiple extractors. So discussing about the extractors, we have three types: the form extractor, regex-based extractor, intelligent form extractor. So to have a high-level overview of these three types, firstly, the form extractor. This is mainly used for structured type, and the regex-based extractor. This is mainly used for semi-structured. And then ML, there is one more extractor called ML extractor. So that is used for unstructured. Intelligent will be intelligent in case it identifies. I mean, there will be some part of ML algorithm involved in this intelligent form extractor. So that's a high level overview. If you go too deep, like in-depth knowledge of form extractor. So form extractor extracts, matches, and reports the required information by taking into consideration of the word positions, like vector of the words inside the document. This activity can be used only together with the data extraction scope, like we already know, which we discussed earlier. Like all these extractors can be part of this part, the parallel activity. It takes API key, and remaining properties we can ignore. I mean, we can just have API key, and then endpoint will be the default one, the format tractor. If you have tried an example along with me, you would have seen endpoint as well. So that's about the uh, form extractor. One more thing, to add form extractor, we'll see like one of the example, like how do we configure form extractor. And then second one, regex based extractor. So this enables you to create and use a regular expression. We have a regular expression pane in the UiPath. So there you can have a regular expression that based on that expression the data will be extracted from the documents. Like this can be handled. I mean, regex can handle semi-structured data, not completely unstructured. If you have a data, like for example, if you have a form data, and there is a, for example, if you sometimes the form name will be form 10k, and then some other times you will have form 10a. uh, Either of the form types, you still have to extract the data, then use regex based extractor. So you can add the regex like form space and then something, some elements, and then space and then some elements, like that. If that pattern matches, then it will be considered as I mean, this regex based extraction can extract the information from that type of documents. That's basically the regex. It takes the configuration. This specifies the configuration value for the extractor as a JSON escaped string. The configuration can be generated by using the extractor wizard. And like timeout, there is one more property called timeout, so that we already know like how much time it takes to have that expression. So we'll see an example for regex based as well. And then finally, the intelligent form extractor. It analyzes, extracts, matches, and reports the required information from a document by taking into consideration the word's position, including the handwritten and signed fields. So the first one, the form extractor, it will be taking consideration into word's position, and intelligent form extractor will take handwritten and signed fields as well. So that's the only advantage of intelligent form extractor. And then it also takes API key, endpoint. So that's basically about the extractors. We'll see an example in the final in action step. And then next, so after we have, let's go to the extraction part maybe. So we, in the previous sessions, we had up to classify and the final step, extract and validation. So for each result of the classification results, I mean, we have a collection of classification results. Since we have many documents, the classification results will be based on the number of types in a single PDF. If you have a single PDF, for example, here we are passing a single document, but the collection can be different, because in single PDF there can be multiple types of documents. In single PDF itself, you can have invoice, and then some financial report, and then some passport, many things. So each document type will be classified according to the type of the classifier, like we decided in earlier, right? In the taxonomy we defined the document type. So based on that, the types will be defined. So since we have more number of types, if we have more number of types, then that will be a collection. So for each of that type, we have to extract the information. So that will be collection type. So that we have for each loop to loop into each type of the class, each document classifier. So this is the data extraction scope. We, as I explained about the properties. So it takes the classification result, which has been in the output of the previous step, document object model, document path, text. So if you give the classification result, you can ignore the document type ID. so that taxonomy, and then the output will be extracted results. So these I was talking about the extractors. So these are the extractors. So if we take an example, I just copy paste this activity. So we have form extractor, and click on manage templates and click on create template. You can select the types which which are available in taxonomy. So I'm selecting 1040 form this type, and then just name it, and then select one type of document of this type. So I'm selecting this one, and then since we are using Omni OCR, select Omni OCR, and then configure. So yeah. So first we have to mention the page numbers. So the mentioning page numbers will be using, if we have to select control. So first we go to this part. So in order to recognize this as type of form 1040, first we need to give few of the words. So for example, we can identify this as form 1040x based on the name 1040x, and then if you think like amended is also common for this type, you can select that. So minimum 5 words has to be selected. So this 5 word selection also, I mean, since you are selecting one by one, we need control to have multiple selections. So click on control and then select the words which you think might require to decide this document as form 1040x. Select, I this is just an example, so I'm selecting random words. Minimum we need 5, so I'm just selecting 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've selected 6, and then this has to be if these are there, then this, that means like this is the first page. So I'm selecting these words to first page. That will be added. So that's how you use the form extractor. And here, so these fields which we already created in taxonomy, so that's the reason we got this. And then we select each one. So for example, written 2019, let's take an easy one. So first name, for first name we need entire, the first name can be up to this point, so it can start from here and then it can end up to here. So select the entire possibility box, custom area, and then add it to first name. Same goes to last name, start from here and then up to end, and then add it to last name. So once you do all these steps, click on save and then continue on save. So that will be saved, and then you can click on close. So that's how you create a form extractor. Similar example I'll show the regex based. Click on configure expressions. I'm selecting 1040, configure extractors. So here we have these types, and then for each type you have to mention some regular expression pattern, so that if the document matches with that pattern, then that particular field will be extracted. For example, um, let's take one of the name. If it is like the name of the file, let's see if we have a name. We don't have a name. I'll take first name. So let's click on, we have to click on edit, and then here you create the regular expression for first name. So it can be a literal, so mainly it has to be a literal. For example, if you are let's open one of the example, open this. Document takes some time to open. So yeah, so if you have to decide on the name, so for example here the name is form 1040 and then X. If you think sometimes it might be form 10-Q and sometimes it can be 10-K. So this the form is the word form is constant, and then the spaces we don't know, and then 10 is constant and hyphen is constant, and remaining can be anything. So if we have to write up regular expression for that, then firstly we select literal, and then literal has to be form, it has to be exactly once, and then you add a white space, and white spaces can be any, and then you add a literal, so this will be 10 hyphen, and this also has to be exactly once, and then after 10k 10 hyphen, then there can be x k or anything, so just select anything, and that also has to be exactly once. Finally the end, so it has to end like that. So for end we select dollar symbol, select literal and then dollar, and then click on save. If you see for first name this regular expression will be assigned. So similarly for return 2019 you can have an expression, for this you can have a last name, you can have an expression. So based on these expressions this data will be picked up. So that's how you create a regex based extractor. So those are the two extractors we had. The intelligent form extractor I have already discussed right in the previous steps. So it will be based on the word vectors, and it can also extract the signature fields and then handwritten fields. So that's about the intelligent form extractor. So now we reached in the end, I mean the final step, like the extraction step. So next we have the pre-processing steps. The processing steps are nothing but like once we have the result in a variable, like you have this activity export extraction results. We'll go to the PPT. So firstly we consume the data. So to start with consume the data, after you validate the extracted data, you can export it to whatever environment or whatever type you need. The extractions can be exported as a dataset variable. It can be a CSV or else it can be Excel as well. And then the process the data further in. It can be given to a queue, or it can be a data entry to an ERP tool, or perform other activities that are required by the processing flow. And next we have export extraction results. So these are the pre-processing steps. So exporting extraction results, nothing but like this validated results will be output of data extraction scope, and that will be passed to this activity, and then it will result into a data set type. So that's about data extraction. And then the dataset variable output, I mean it can be a bullet, a table named simple fields, it can be a formatted simple fields. So all these based on these types, it will create sheets in the Excel. And then the final one, the feedback loop. So this is where the point, like the human will be involved. So if the document, mostly UiPath's document understanding these intelligent OCR packages, this will mostly scrape the data. But since we might encounter difficult data types, document types, like the handwritten ones or the doctor scribbles, like they'll write their own in their own language, so they don't even use the words. Sometimes it will be a single line. So in that cases there is definitely human needed. So there might be a false information scrape because of that single line. So for that reasons human has to be there. Like so if the bot can't scrape enough information, it will directly push out an action item, so that like saying this cannot be extracted, so we need human help. So that's where you have the feedback loop. Based on the human will give the input in the validation step, like your classifiers and extractors learn how to better work on your use case. So these will be used as a training data, and then if the same data occurs again, it will automatically take the entered input which is been entered by human. That's about the feedback loop. The train classifier scope is nothing but it is almost similar to feedback loop. I mean in the feedback loop. Inside feedback loop, you use train classifier scope. So once the human enters the for particular field, if the bot can't scrape that, then it throws an action item for human, and then human enters that like this export is export, like that, and then the train classifier for the next time it will learn that this export is export, like that. So that happens in train classifier scope. So that's end of the session. That's basically the document understanding framework. Okay, we'll, I'll run the entire work. So one more thing for community edition, we don't have there is a limit to for extraction. So I can show only few of the extractions. I mean, after that, the bot automatically throws an error, like the exceeded limit, like that. I'll show you that as well. Digitize and classify steps are completed. So this is classification station. You can quickly see like how the bot classified. So this is form type, so it classified correctly, and then this is vehicle damage report, so it is classified that as well. You can click on save. So if you see here, I have exceeded the size limitations. So it few of them will be extracted. So I can show the result of of those. So for one of the documents, it scraped the registration number, confidence, inspector name, vehicle license number, vehicle license number, confidence. So these are the confidence is like it is sure that this is registration number, and then it is sure that this is Tessa Johnson. Like one means the exact, I mean accuracy. That's what it decide. So that's basically the output. I'm stopping the bot. So this is completely the document understanding framework. Talking about few tips and tricks. If in the digitization step, uh, if you don't get much accuracy, try switching the OCR engines used in digitization scope. If the documents that were not properly digitized are scanned, I mean, if they are not digitized properly, they are scan type. So try another one of free OCR engines available, like Tesseract OCR, Microsoft OCR, or UiPath document OCR, in any of those. And the next tip is to like table extra. Sometimes the table will not be extracted correctly. So there we have two options: either correct the cells which are not recognized, or use the table selection mode. And few of the shortcuts, if you have a selection of shortcuts to use, so like depress X, I mean use NNP activities to navigate to the next or the previous field inside that, like when you decide the fields, you can use NNP keys. And if the documents was not classified properly, try I mean the key is to try anything AI powered learning, like try using ML involved classifiers, so that you'll get an option like to explore more. uh, you can create rules for the documents, you can mark as an exception. I mean, if you have, I mean, if there are any errors, you can directly skip that document, and then you can still continue processing the remaining documents, because since it is document types, I mean, depends on completely on document types. So you might get a worse document as well. So instead of that, I mean, because of that worst document, the bot should not stop. I mean, it should either throw an action to a human, or it should continue saying it is an exception. So try to handle that properly. So yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you.